All right, so we all just saw the Eagles take down the Chiefs in the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
40-22.
Big win.
Definitely felt like a pretty decisive victory for Philly.
For sure.
But was it, like, really a historic blowout?
Hmm.
You know, like, one for the record books?
Well,
You might be surprised to learn
yeah.
just how common blowouts actually are in the big game.
It's true.
We've got a whole stack of Super Bowl data here,
Oh, yeah.
and we're about to deep dive into some of the biggest wins
Sounds good.
and maybe uncover a few surprising facts along the way.
I love surprises.
So,
What's fascinating is that, we all tend to remember those nail-biting finishes.
right.
But the reality is a lot of Super Bowls haven't been all that close.
So if you're sitting out there thinking 40-22 is a pretty big gap,
Yeah.
you're not wrong.
You're definitely not wrong.
But in the grand scheme of Super Bowl blowouts,
Mm-hmm.
it's not even close to the most lopsided game.
Nope, not even close.
Not even close, huh?
The biggest blowout, that goes back to Super Bowl XC4 in 1990.
Boy.
San Francisco 49ers, led by Joe Montana,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely demolished the Denver Broncos.
Oh, wow.
55-10.
55-10.
We're talking a 45-point difference.
Wow, 45 points.
Yeah.
That makes the Eagles' win look like a squeaker.
Right.
Now, I know the 49ers were a powerhouse back then,
Oh, yeah.
but what else contributed to such a massive gap?
Wow.
I mean, was it just a bad day for the Broncos?
It
Or were the 49ers really that unstoppable?
was a bit of both, actually. The 49ers were on fire that season,
Mm.
but the Broncos also made some key mistakes
Yeah.
that the 49ers capitalized on.
Right.
It's a reminder that even in a championship game,
Yeah.
momentum can swing wildly,
Sure.
and one team's mistakes can become another team's opportunities.
All right, so 45 points is the record.
Wow.
What are some other blowouts that stand out in Super Bowl history? Any other contenders for the most lopsided title?
Well, you've got the Chicago Bears dismantling the Patriots by 36 points in Super Bowl XX back in '86.
Got it.
Then there's the Dallas Cowboys taking down the Bills by 35 in Super Bowl X7, and the Seattle Seahawks crushing the Broncos again by 35 points
Okay.
in Super Bowl XL8.
Okay, so lots of 30-plus point differences.
Yeah, it happened.
But here's a question for you.
Okay.
Has any team ever been completely shut out in the Super Bowl?
Ooh, good question.
I mean, could you imagine the heartbreak,
Yeah.
the humiliation of scoring 0 points on the biggest stage in football?
I mean, you could think with all these blowouts, a shutout would happen at some point, right?
Right. You'd think so.
But surprisingly,
No.
no team has ever been shut out in the Super Bowl.
Seriously.
Seriously.
That's wild. So even on their worst day, even against the toughest competition,
Mm-hmm.
every team that's made it to the Super Bowl
Yep.
has managed to put at least a few points on the board.
At least a field goal, right?
That's kind of reassuring, I guess.
Yeah, it speaks to the level of talent and preparation in the NFL.
Yeah.
Even in a mismatch, scoring in the Super Bowl is a testament to a team's skill
Sure.
and resilience.
All right, so no shutouts.
Nope.
But what about close calls?
Okay.
What are some of the lowest scores we've seen in a Super Bowl?
Well, the Rams, in their loss to the Patriots in Super Bowl LF3, could only muster 3 points.
Okay.
And way back in Super Bowl VI, the Dolphins also managed just 3 points in their loss to the Cowboys.
3 points.
So getting shut out might be unheard of,
Yeah.
but scoring just a field goal?
Right.
That's happened.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Scoring just 3 points in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's gotta sting.
It definitely highlights the pressure and intensity of the Super Bowl.
Right.
Even the best offenses can struggle to find their rhythm against a top-tier defense
Right.
on that stage.
Now, speaking of turning the tide, we've all seen those incredible come-from-behind victories.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who could forget the Patriots overcoming a 21-3 halftime deficit
Unbelievable.
to beat the Falcons in Super Bowl LI?
What a game.
That was pure magic.
That game definitely defied expectations.
Yeah.
But what's important to understand is that comebacks like that are incredibly rare
Really?
in the Super Bowl.
So you're saying if you're down big at halftime,
Yeah.
your chances of winning are pretty slim.
Statistically speaking, yes.
Okay.
A large halftime lead is a huge advantage. And the biggest halftime lead in Super Bowl history?
What's that?
Washington held a commanding 35-10 lead over the Broncos in Super Bowl XC2.
Wow, 25 points at the half.
I know.
You'd think the game was over at that point.
Right.
Okay, so we've talked about some pretty epic Super Bowl losses.
Yeah, some tough ones.
But let's bring it back to this year's game for a second.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that the Chiefs have experienced a couple of tough losses in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What was their worst defeat?
Their worst loss point-wise was actually their very first Super Bowl appearance.
Okay.
Super Bowl.
Oh.
They lost to the Green Bay Packers by a score of 35-10.
Okay.
And of course, more recently, they suffered that 31-9 defeat against the Buccaneers in Super Bowl LV.
So even a team like the Chiefs, known for their offensive firepower, can have an off day on the biggest stage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it shows that in the Super Bowl, anything can happen.
I guess so.
No team is immune to the pressure, the intensity, and the unpredictable nature of the game.
Right. So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Good question.
Stay tuned, because after a quick break, we're going to unpack these insights and talk about why blowouts matter, even if your team isn't playing.
Absolutely. You know, it's easy to just dismiss blowouts as like boring or predictable.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot we can learn from them,
Okay.
even if our team isn't the one, doing the dominating.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You're saying there's more to a blowout than just the final score.
Well, exactly.
What else should we be paying attention to?
Think about it this way.
Okay.
Blowouts can reveal a lot about the evolution of the game itself. Like, are they becoming more common?
Okay.
If so, why?
Yeah.
Are rule changes favoring offense?
Interesting.
Is there a growing disparity in coaching talent?
Yeah. Okay.
These are all questions worth considering.
Okay, I see your point.
Yeah.
So it's not just about one team being better than the other on a given day.
Right?
We can use blowouts to analyze trends and see how the game is changing over time.
Precisely.
Okay.
And let's not forget the impact blowouts can have on the Super Bowl
Right.
as a spectacle.
Yeah.
Do they make the game less exciting for viewers? Do they hurt ratings?
Interesting.
Or do people tune in anyway, hoping to see, records broken, incredible individual performances?
You're right.
Yeah.
Even in a blowout, there are still moments of brilliance.
For sure.
Individual players who rise to the occasion despite the odds.
Absolutely. Think about a rookie wide receiver, maybe on the losing side of a blowout, who makes a spectacular catch.
Right.
Or a veteran quarterback playing in what might be his last Super Bowl, who throws a touchdown pass even though his team is down by 30 points. These moments can be incredibly inspiring, even in the context of a lopsided game.
It's like they're saying, hey, we might be losing.
Yeah.
But we're still here to play,
exactly.
to compete,
Yeah.
to show what we can do.
It's about pride, resilience, and a refusal to give up, even when the odds are stacked against you.
Right. Yeah.
And that's something we can all relate to, whether we're athletes or just fans watching from home.
So while a close game might be more exciting on the surface, you're arguing that there's a deeper level of drama and meaning to be found in a blowout.
Exactly. It's about looking beyond the scoreboard and appreciating the nuances of the game, the individual stories, the strategic decisions, the glimpses of brilliance that can emerge, even in the face of defeat.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that there's always something to watch for in the Super Bowl, even if the score isn't close.
Right.
But let's shift gears for a second.
Okay.
And talk about those games that D.O. come down to the wire.
All right.
Those nail biters that leave us all holding our breath.
Ah, yes.
Right.
The thrill of victory.
Yeah.
The agony of defeat.
Right.
Those games are what Super Bowl dreams are made of.
We talked about how, statistically,
Yeah.
big halftime leads usually result in a win.
Right.
But are there any examples of teams overcoming those seemingly insurmountable odds?
There are a few.
Really?
And they've become legendary for a reason.
Yeah.
They remind us that in the Super Bowl, anything is possible.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those incredible comebacks.
All right.
What are some of the most memorable examples of teams defying the odds and snatching victory from the jaws of defeat?
Well, I think you have to start with the Patriots' incredible comeback against the Falcons.
Yeah.
In Super Bowl LI.
Okay.
Down 21-3 at halftime.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone had written them off.
Everyone.
And then, boom,
Yeah.
they score 31 unanswered points in the second half and overtime.
I know, it was amazing.
Extend the game.
That game was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I remember watching it, thinking it was over for the Patriots.
Right.
And then suddenly the momentum shifted, and you could just feel the energy change in the stadium.
What's interesting is that it wasn't just one big play or lucky break that turned the tide.
Yeah.
It was a series of strategic adjustments.
Okay.
Key defensive stops and a refusal to give up that ultimately led to the Patriots' victory.
So it was a combination of coaching, execution, and maybe a little bit of Super Bowl magic.
Exactly. And that's what makes these comebacks so fascinating.
Yeah.
They demonstrate the power of belief, the importance of adapting to changing circumstances, and the unpredictable nature of the game itself.
You know, you're making me think about these games in a whole new light.
Good.
It's not just about who wins or loses.
Right.
It's about the stories that unfold along the way.
Exact.
The resilience, the heartbreak, the moments of triumph and despair.
It's all there.
Yeah, it's all part of what makes the Super Bowl so captivating.
Precisely.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
To go beyond the surface level and really dig into the deeper meaning and significance of these games.
So as we move into the next part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to encourage you, the listener, to think about your own favorite Super Bowl moments, the games that have stayed with you over the years. What makes them so memorable?
Good question.
Is it the final score?
Right.
The individual performances?
Yeah.
Or the underlying narratives that captured your imagination?
It really is fascinating how certain Super Bowl moments just become etched in our memories, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I bet we can all probably recall where we were, who we were with, how we felt.
Oh, absolutely.
During those, those iconic games.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Those shared experiences.
Yeah.
The collective gasps, the cheers.
Right.
They kind of become a part of our personal history.
Yeah.
Intertwined with the history of the game itself.
For sure.
But let's dive into some specific examples. Of those, nail-biting Super Bowls.
Right.
The ones that kept us glued to our seats until the very last second.
Yeah, the edge-of-your-seat thrillers.
Right.
Well, you can't talk about Super Bowl nail-biters without mentioning Super Bowl XL2.
Okay.
The Giants versus the undefeated Patriots in 2008.
Oh, man.
One of the biggest upsets in Super Bowl history.
That game was insane.
Yeah.
Everyone thought the Patriots were going to cruise to victory, complete their perfect season.
Right.
But the Giants had other plans. They sure did.
The Giants' defense was relentless that day.
Oh, yeah.
Putting constant pressure on Tom Brady. And then there was Eli Manning.
Oh, yeah.
Orchestrating that incredible game-winning drive.
I know. Capped off by
David Tyree's unbelievable helmet catch.
The helmet catch.
Helmet catch.
I mean, come on.
It's one of those plays that just instantly transports you back to that moment.
Absolutely.
I mean, who could have predicted that a receiver would pin the ball against his helmet to make a game-winning catch?
Wild.
It was pure Super Bowl magic.
Pure magic.
And that game had all the hallmarks of a classic nail-biter.
Oh, yeah.
It was close throughout.
Yeah.
The momentum shifted back and forth, and it all came down to a final dramatic drive.
Couldn't have scripted it better.
Okay, so that's one for the history books.
For sure.
What other nail-biters come to mind? What other games had us all on the edge of our seats?
How about Super Bowl XXV in 1991?
Okay.
The Giants versus the Bills.
Right.
This one came down to a missed field goal as time expired.
Whoa, I remember that one.
Wide right.
Scott Norwood's kick.
Oh, man.
It's a moment that will forever be etched in the minds of Bills fans.
Yeah.
And probably not in a good way.
Probably not.
It was a heartbreaker for Buffalo.
It was.
The score was close throughout. The defenses were dominant.
Yep.
And it all came down to that one kick.
It's crazy.
It's incredible how one single play, one split-second moment can have such a profound impact.
It really is.
On a game, on a team's legacy, on the emotions of millions of fans.
And that's the beauty of these nail-biters.
Yeah.
They remind us that in the Super Bowl, anything is possible.
Right.
One play, one bounce of the ball, one incredible catch can change everything.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Super Bowl history, I think the key takeaway is this.
Okay.
Whether it's a blowout or a nail-biter, a stunning upset, or a dominant performance.
Each Super Bowl has its own unique story to tell.
It does.
It's a tapestry woven from athleticism, strategy, passion, and pure human drama.
And even if you're not a diehard football fan, there's something undeniably captivating about the Super Bowl. It's a chance to witness greatness, to be a part of a shared cultural moment, to experience those collective highs and lows that only, a global event like this can provide.
And as we've explored today, whether it's a blowout, a shutout, a comeback, or a nail-biter, there's always something to learn, something to appreciate.
For sure.
And something to be inspired by in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
So next time you tune in to the big game, remember to look beyond the scoreboard.
Good advice.
Savor those individual moments of brilliance. Consider the strategic decisions that unfold on the sidelines. And appreciate the complex tapestry of human stories that play out on the field. Who knows? You might even witness a moment that becomes part of Super Bowl lore.
You never know.
A story that will be told and retold for generations to come.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us on this Super Bowl deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll catch you next time for another fascinating exploration of the world around us.
See you then.